What do pins, oil seals, shafts and valves all have in common? Well, when it comes to removing them, it can be an absolute pain in the ass. With the tools and materials that you've already got laying around the workshop, you can turn one of the most common and useful tools, a Vise Grip, into something even more versatile, a slide hammer. And this doesn't have to be a permanent modification, so you can go back and forth between the two at your leisure. I'm starting with this piece of mild steel in the Mini-Lathe, but everything I do on the lathe can be done by hand as well, so don't let that put you off. The first job is removing the mill scale, just simply doing a skim pass, but again, you can do this very easily by hand using some abrasives. Oily, sweaty or greasy hands are just part and parcel of a workshop, so I'm just using this Sharpie pen to create evenly spaced marks for V-grooves just to stop my hands slipping off in use. And again, if you don't have a lathe but you want to add texture, you can simply use a center punch to deform and dimple the surface of the metal to achieve the same result. The center hole I'm making here needs to be just slightly larger than the diameter of the shaft you intend to use. It can be done with a simple hand drill or pillar drill as well if you have one. So now that this is all made, I don't want it to re-rust. So what I'm going to do, you can paint them, but paint will just chip. Instead, I'm going to heat this up and I'm going to wipe it off or wipe it over with a coat of linseed oil. So I've got this pizza tray to heat up on, and then I'm going to place some TIG rod through just as a way to hold the slide hammer. And then I've got a little bit of a rag which I can wipe up and down with the oil on it. And it should be, he says, fairly safe. So let's start warming it up. Back on with the heat. So there we have it. It's such a stunning color. I love it. Like this really dark, rich, burnt caramel appearance. And as I said, it's going to really help reduce any rust that can form. So this is actually the drive shaft for a line trimmer, and it's all that I've got, but I actually recommend, if you have some, is a piece of all thread. Now, of course this isn't, but the point being the same is whenever you want to use the slide hammer, you can thread in the rod to the end of it. And whenever you don't want to use your Vise Grip as a slide hammer, you can simply remove it and reinstate the original bolt that came in here. So my friend Ken from Ken Small Engines Repair, go check him out. I've put his link in the description below. He was the reason that this whole slide hammer's come about. We were doing a live video about a week ago, and he pulled his slide hammer out. I loved it so much that I wanted to make my own. Now he said his was about 11 inches. That would make it about that long. Now I think I might go slightly longer than that. 15, well that's 15 there. I reckon that's going to be quite good. I'm going with the 15 inches. And now I'm going to just go over it very quickly with a die grinder. Good. And the last stage is we're going to weld it to this bolt. And I want to, again, clean it off, remove any potential coating that's on here. Well, I feel like this is as close as I'm going to be able to get it. It's really hard to align two different things that are totally different heights and hold it in place so I can actually get in there and TIG weld it, or at least tack weld it, and then I'm going to properly TIG weld it, but I think it's going to work. that's all TIG welded on. Now I need to remove this nut and install our slide hammer. So now we've got the tool, we can put it to use, but just before we go back inside, I've got one favor to ask from you guys. If you've enjoyed today's video, found it helpful, or any of my other content in the past as well, I ask that you please give the video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and leave a comment in the comment section below. It can make the difference between a video's success or failure. It doesn't cost you anything. And of course, lastly, thank you to all of my Patreons. I really appreciate it. So the first thing we're going to use the slide hammer on is actually this carburettor. And it may seem a bit surprising that you're using a tool like this on such a small and intricate piece of equipment, but it can make all the difference to the repair that you're undertaking. In this case, I want to remove the main nozzle check valve. Now, typically we can tap them through into the bore, but on some carburettors, this isn't possible. In this case, the nozzle is actually larger than the bore, so if you do push it through, it's actually going to get stuck halfway. On other carburetors that have a much larger bore, this isn't such an issue. Now, one of the most important steps with replacing a main nozzle is to always remove the high-speed screw. If you don't, there's a very good chance that you're going to break the tip off and the carburettor is then ruined. Taking a punch now, we can carefully dent the surface. This does two things. Firstly, it keeps the drill bit aligned at the very beginning, and secondly, it helps to break the seal between the nozzle and the bore in which it sits in. And now I'm going to drill all the way through and come out the other side. And now, of course, we can screw the screw in, and it should be nice and tight, and you want to go all the way through to the inside. Now let's move on to something really common, removing an oil seal from an engine's crankcase. It's just a spare one that I had laying around, so there's no crankshaft in it, but the principles are exactly the same. There we have it, and it's that easy to pull them out. Now, I actually have the Stihl OEM oil seal puller. It's incredibly expensive, and the number of times it's let me down on smaller oil seals, the jaws have chipped, it doesn't fit properly, it's gotten really frustrating. Even on this tiny oil seal from a Stihl MS260 chainsaw, I was able to use the screw and a Vise Grip slide hammer to remove that seal. Something I couldn't do with that OEM tool. And for those that love the idea but just don't want to make one themselves, I've put links in the description below to a slide hammer kit for you. If you enjoy the creativity and satisfaction that comes with making your own tools, you're going to love this video I've got up here for you next.